couple of weeks now, and you know, for all the violent movies that I've seen recently, I don't understand why this film stood out. You know, I think because in this film there was no female lead or co-lead. I think that played a big part into it. That's why these films feature women so prevalently in their movies, because they want to avoid the media, you know, writing all types of hit pieces on it. It was good, Sailor Boy, Mr. Scan, Sweet Pea. Make sure y'all like the stream too, man. It's good, Jeff. Yeah, this film had quite the list of actors in this film. Robert De Niro, like his biggest part of the film is close to the end, but yeah. Now I want to say this too. I am a big fan of the DC film, not DC film. I'm a big fan of DC as a whole. I'm more of a fan of DC than I am Marvel. Um, Not to say that I didn't like the Marvel films. There's a lot of Marvel films that I did like. But I'm a bigger fan of DC. I have been since I was a kid. I grew up watching the Batman cartoons. I grew up watching Superman, the Justice League, you know. But I have to say that I really liked this film. I really thought that it was directed very well. Hey, Jocelina, you're gonna have to wait until I, you know, get into it. God damn it, I'm gonna get into it. But yes, this film is one of the best films of the year, easily. The acting from Joaquin Phoenix, who's always been a consistently good actor. I felt like the messaging of the film started to escalate and build. I like the storytelling, I like the acting. There was no fall off. You know, Jocelyn ready to get to it quick, like she got something to do today. like she got something to do. She like get to the point. I gotta go somewhere. But ain't you on your phone? Put some earphones in. Anyway, you know. You know, but yeah, man, this is easily one of the best films of the year, man. And I've seen some good films this year. And this is probably one of the best films I've seen in a couple of years, because there have been some disappointments. But I have to say, Joaquin Phoenix carried the film, but the co-stars did their part as well. I think Robert De Niro, the back and forth they had towards the tail end of the movie, I thought it just showed how good of both of those guys are and how good of on-film chemistry they had. You know, trying to take a nap this early, huh? But I think that if you wanted to do a film about the Joker, I think this was a very good premise, because let's go to the beginning, right? Let's start off with the beginning. He's working as a clown. The situation where he gets jumped by the kids and sign is tore up. It was good, T Malone. AM was good. And he's seeing a therapist. And let's see. He has to deal with the fact that the guy at his job don't like him, so he gives him a gun. Then his boss is like, you know, you need to get the sign. So he has to deal with disappointment from people his whole life. I think that's one of the things about Joker. Got to deal with a boss that doesn't like him. Now I want y'all to understand, this is a very light review. This ain't gonna be no heavy review. This is gonna be a very light review. You know, he wants to get into comedy and stand up. He's a big fan of Robert De Niro's character in the film. He watches his shows every night with his mother. And he has to deal with being let go from his job. He has to deal with this not being able to see his therapist anymore. She basically, that was just a check to her. She didn't really care for the people that she was counseling, so to speak. And that was the beginning stages of him not getting his medication, because once he can't see this lady, he can't get his medication. I think that's when things start to spiral. Then he goes to the children's hospital and he's performing. Then the gun that was given to him by his co-worker ends up falling on the floor while he's performing. And then he gets a call. He has to call his boss. His boss fires him, and he has to go back to the job. And let's see this one. Then he's on, I think this is the subway scene where the guy's jumping and he ends up shooting all three of those guys. Now, I think that was the point of the contention there, because it's saying, that's gonna cause gun violence to rise. What about The Purge? You've done how many Purge movies? You know what I'm saying? That wasn't violent, where people put on masks and chase people around the city to try to hurt them. Those moves aren't gonna cause violence, right? The Joker was played by Joaquin Phoenix. I mean, have y'all not seen the trailers? Read the news reports? Patricia, because they ran out of ideas. They don't have any ideas in Hollywood anymore. If they do get an original idea, they're gonna run into the ground. Like, how many of y'all remember Paranormal Activity? Do y'all remember the first Paranormal Activity? Look how many films they milked out of their franchise after that. Yeah, the Purge movies are very violent. Yeah, 4 Purge movies and a TV show. And they don't think that that's going to cause people to want to get violent. I would think those movies would more than the Joker film. Yeah, they had a problem with Rambo too, because it's a masculine male defending his family. They hate those films now. Now it's about the woman defending the family or defending other people. That's what they want to see. They don't want to see men defending themselves or defending they don't want to see those films anymore. Yeah, the Saw films. How many Saw films have there been? And those movies weren't violent. Those movies were blueprints as to how to do harm to other people. Anyway, back to the review. He runs from the subway after killing the 3 guys that jumped him. And he sort of has a moment of insanity where he's like dancing in the was it like a bathroom he was in? Then he goes to the job and, okay, cool, Patricia, appreciate it. Then he goes to the job. I believe he packs his stuff. He leaves. He talks about, he basically tells him, he basically say, hey, the guy, he's the one who gave me the gun. He's responsible for this. Anyway. Okay, let's see. I'm probably going to skip through some things because I'm trying to remember everything on the fly. He starts talking to the girl, his neighbor. See, this is during the time he done got off his medication. So he starts to believe that this girl likes him when she really doesn't. But see, in his mind, they were a couple. They were going out. They were making out. They were hanging out together. Okay? His mother's in the hospital. Then that's when he sees the late night show. Before then, he was questioned by police. And I believe then he saw the late show where the guy starts to make fun of his comedy routine because he did a comedy routine. And that's when he begins to, sink more and more into his madness. Okay, let's see if I can remember something. Because this is a light review, so there's going to be some things that I skip over. But he goes to try to find Thomas Wayne. He goes to Thomas Wayne's house. He meets young Bruce Wayne. It was a very interesting and bit awkward scene. And then I believe Alfred comes in and tells him to get out of there, and he jacked up Alfred and to go running. And then he goes to meet Thomas at an event he was at. I think it was some type of play or whatever. He goes to meet him in the bathroom, talks it out. Thomas punches him in the face. No, he confronts him like he's his father. Dude's like, dude, you're crazy. Your mother was crazy. And he punches him in the face and don't go around my son again. I'll take you out. He didn't say that, but he said something different. And then, let's see. He goes to the hospital, Arkham Asylum, to go look up records, right? The guy's looking up the records. Then when the guy finds out who his mother is, he's reluctant to give him the records. And then that's when Joaquin Phoenix's character, the Joker, grabs the files and takes off running. He runs downstairs. He reads the files. And he realizes that his mother not only was crazy, but she had abused him. Her boyfriend had abused him so badly that I believe she was put away. Because I think that was a part of his life that he had mentally blocked off. You know? So once he finds information out, he goes to see his mother. And no, before then, he had found the letter. One night he had found the letter that was written, I believe, written to his mother from Thomas Wayne. He found out they were having an affair. They got into it. That was the start of what's going to happen next, because once he read the medical records, he went to go see his mother, and that's when he, I believe, took her life. Smothered her, you know, because he really found out the truth of the situation. That wasn't his real mother. She had adopted him. That's what Thomas Wayne had said. And that began the madness. Once he had done that, he goes to the woman's apartment who he thought he had a relationship with. But the woman didn't even know him like that. She was like, why are you doing in my apartment? Get out of here. You know, it was in his mind. In his mind, he thought he had a relationship with this woman. Then they showed the flashbacks of him being in public when, you know, he thought he was with her, but he was by himself. He actually did a movie about having an imaginary girlfriend years ago, or a robot girlfriend years ago. Kind of similar. And he leaves there, and that's when the Joker transformation starts to happen. You know, he symbolically goes into a freezer, right? And once he's out of there, he starts to change physically. His hair, and I believe his look. Then he gets a call from Robert De Niro's show about him being cast on the show, right? Then it goes to, that's when he does his look change, right? Then the guy who got him fired, and the little guy, he has a midget guy, a little person who comes to the house. He brings, I believe, a bottle of liquor. And at that time, Joaquin has the full white paint. I'm pretty sure if y'all seen the trailer, y'all know what I'm talking about. His face, he has that full white paint on his face. And he's looking crazy. Because they go into the apartment, and he's listening to the big guy who got him fired, who lied on him. And he's listening to him talk, and you can tell, like, he's about to do something. So I believe he grabbed a knife or some type of something cutting thing, and he wrapped in his hand, and he kind of walked slowly towards him, and he just starts stabbing the guy. And then he stabbed the guy until the guy fell back into the wall. And he took the guy's head and he just smashed it and smashed it and smashed it. You know what I'm saying? Into the wall. You know? And the little guy was in the corner cowering. He's like, oh my God, what is going on? What are you doing? And Joaquin sort of sits back. He has all the blood on his face and on his shoulder. And he was like, you can go. And the guy, he kind of like eased and ran towards the door. But the thing was, the door was chained. So because he wasn't tall enough to take the chain off the door, he trying to open it, but the chain is on the door. And some I know I did, and some other people started laughing. That was some funny shit. Yo, that was funny. That was funny because he said he let him go because he was always nice to him, right? You know what I'm saying? He ran toward the door, couldn't open it. Who says that even movies like this can't have their moments of laughter? Yeah, because at that time you thinking, oh, he did that on purpose because the door apparently wasn't locked, but it was just chained. You know? So you would think, oh, he set that up. But then he went over and unchained the door and then he let him out. But that part was funny. I'm not gonna lie, that was funny. Okay. Yeah, he did pretend to lunge at him. he said, ah. That was funny, man. He kind of like lunged at him. Oh, man. That was funny, man. He had him scared up in there, man. Well, he let him go. Then I'm gonna cut to when he goes. When he's like, it cuts to when he leaves and he has his full Joker outfit and paint on. He's outside, he's dancing, he's smoking, and then you see the two cops at the top of the stairwell. And the two cops see him, he sees them, and he starts to run. And he runs and he runs, and he almost gets himself into an accident. You know, he gets hit by a car, but he's able to still get to the train station. Well, not train station, but the subway station. And there's a bunch of guys with Joker masks or clown masks, right? And he sort of like falls into the crowd, and they're still chasing him. And what ends up happening is one of the cops ends up shooting one of the guys, and then all the guys in the clown mask starts to jump on the cops. They start beating up on the two cops. And the Joker, he puts on a mask, right, on a clown mask, and he walks off of the train. He takes it off and throws it away, and he sort of walks off like ain't nothing happened. Then I'm gonna go to when he gets to the studio. He's in the makeup room, and he already has on paint, so I don't know what they put makeup on for. But anyway, then Murray, the Robert De Niro character, and the producer comes in the room. They tell him specifically of the show. Then he tells him, "Listen, when I come out, can you introduce me as the Joker?" He's like, "Fine." So he's waiting back. He's watching what's going on. Then they go to introduce him. He comes out, and he goes up and kisses the older woman in the mouth. You know, she's shocked. She don't know what to do. So they sit down. He asked him a question and he didn't answer it. Joker is just looking around, and he was like, "No, this is." I think he said, "This is different from what I imagined it to be, or this is what I imagined it would be." And so they begin to banter, and then they go into politics of the media and comedy and why comedy isn't fun anymore and how it's being politicized. That was one of the political moments there. So Robert De Niro's going back and forth with him, about his stance and things of that nature. And that's when he admits to taking the life of the young men on the subway. And Robert De Niro, and I think he laughed. I think Robert said, "I think it's funny that you did this," and so they're going back and forth. And I believe Robert De Niro's character is like, "Call the police" or something. He's motioning to a producer to call police, and that's when the Joker is like, "I have another joke that I want to say," and Robert's like, "No, we done here." And then he gets up and shoots Robert De Niro's character in the head. And then people are scrambling, running around, trying to get out of there. And then he shoots him again in the stomach. And he kind of stood there a little bit. Then he walks up to a camera and he starts to talk like he was giving the outro to the show. And that's when it cut. And the next thing you know, I believe people are rioting. in the clown mask, they're riding. He's in the police car. You see Thomas Wayne, his wife, and his son leaving either the movies or someplace. They were walking down the street. It's very interesting. You have a billionaire walking down the street. And one of the guys in the clown mask watches Thomas Wayne and his family walking off. So they're walking into an alleyway and he follows them. And again, the Joker's still in the police car. And that's when the police car gets hit by like an ambulance. And there was a guy in the Joker mask who rammed into it. And they took the Joker, him and another guy took the Joker out of the police car and put him on top of the car, right? And then Thomas Wayne and his wife, the clown ends up shooting both of them. And Bruce is just standing there, you know? And so the Joker comes to, he wakes up and he sort of looks around. He's surrounded by these guys. He sort of stands up as if he is a risen leader amongst his flock. And then it cuts to him being in handcuffs in, I believe to be Arkham Asylum. And he's talking to another black female therapist. Now, I'm not really sure what happened, but I don't know if it was another, something going on in his mind. But when he's walking out of the room, there's like blood on his feet. And then once he reached the end of the hall, he starts to run away from the orderly. He's running back and forth away from the orderly. He runs east, and he comes back and he runs west, and the guy's chasing him. And then that's it. You know, what's going on, Miranda? That's pretty much my review. You know, my light review. I just wanted to come and speak on that. But yeah, man, there was some messaging there. I think the messaging was that comedy, that how cancel culture and how the media tries to decide what's funny and what's not. And that's what's going on today. You know, you have the media that wants to tell people what to like, what not to like, who to support, what not to support. Comedians can't be funny anymore because they're making jokes about certain groups. They've made comedy extremely unfunny. And because they've made comedy extremely unfunny, you have a lot of comedians who are starting to fight back against what the media is doing. Was good, Torin. Yeah, man. Y'all know what's funny, man? There was a woman, right, that was walking out of the theater room when she was in front of me. She had at least about 4 or 5 kids with her. I believe all of them were hers. And she's talking about how she didn't like the movie. The movie to her was boring. And I'm saying to myself, that is because you didn't know what you were going to watch. You thought you was going to watch a Marvel film. That's how extremely casual these comic book fans are. Most men who go to watch these films know exactly who's going to be in them, what the backstory of these characters are, you know, how many times we've seen them in movies and TV shows. But then you got some of these females don't know nothing about these characters, but they go anyway because it's popular. Just because it's popular, they go to watch it. Don't know nothing about it, but because it's popular and everybody else is going, they go. And that's why you see Marvel pandering to the lowest common denominator, because they know there's a lot of casual viewers who don't know anything about comic books. They don't know anything about these films and movies. but they're gonna go spend money anyway just cause it's popular. Yeah, Heath Ledger's still my favorite Joker, Miranda. And it on Snapchat. Yeah, Heath Ledger still, because of what he did in the movie. Like, I like what Joaquin Phoenix did in this film. I really do. But it was a backstory. But with Heath Ledger's Joker, he was already the Joker. He was already the Joker. He was already a villainous. He was making plans. He was extremely intelligent. He was very quick on his feet. I like John Nicholson, but like I said, I went to go see the Joker film with Heath Ledger in it. So I might be biased. I don't know. But I just seeing it in theaters and seeing it afterwards, consistently, he to me, and he was very quotable. Why so serious? Very quotable. You just didn't, he was very unpredictable as a villain. That's what you want from a villain, to be very unpredictable. Yeah, rest in peace to Heath Ledger. But just as a villain, just looking at a villain, he was the antithesis of what a villain is, just looking at what he did, for that film, because people gotta understand, Christopher Nolan was not a comic book director. He put his own spin on it and was able to really hone in on what he wanted his villain to be. Marvel still has not done that with their villains. They still haven't done it. I think Thanos, and also you had the villain in Black Panther, Michael B. Jordan's character. I can't think of the name right now. Those are the only two villains that have been able to stick. Yeah, DC should cater to more of the diehards, man. Don't cater to the casuals, man. I can believe that, Miranda. When you get into roles like that, you have to. You got to take it up a notch. Joaquin Phoenix lost a ton of weight for that film. He wanted to look a certain way. A lot of these actors will go to extremes in order to be able to hone in on those roles. Yeah, Killmonger. Right, Killmonger. Couldn't think of it right now. I don't know. Right here, and I just couldn't, Yeah, they do. Marvel do cater to kids. I can understand that, but it just shows that the type of audience they have too. Because I think DC is trying to cater to more of an adult audience. Even with Aquaman, they weren't really catering to kids. Wonder Woman, they're not really catering to kids. They're still catering to a more adult audience, and that's why DC still has a solid base, and they know they have a solid base. They just got to make good movies. As long as they make good movies, their base is gonna support. And DC has the better villains. They just do, man. You look at the Rose Gallery of Batman, man. Just look at it. Superman. Just have better villains. Yeah, DC's not afraid to, because they want to make the heroes look good. It's just like wrestling. You want to make your baby faces look way better than the heels, so you will book them against weak heels. Not strong heels are going to outshine them, but weak heels that are going to be overshadowed. I think this is an Oscar-worthy performance. I do. From Joaquin Phoenix. Oh no, they hate original works. They want to create their own. They want to be out with the old and in with the new. Marvel embraced Stan Lee because he was still around and he still had a passion for those characters, so they would put him in the films as cameos. Thanos was strong, but if you look at the beginning of Endgame, they almost made him look weak. But then later on in the film, they made him look strong. But at the beginning of the film, they made him look weak. I don't think you could fully humanize Joker. In fact, in the book, he's already crazy. Well, I think in this film, the rapper, they wanted to humanize the Joker. That's why I said that I'm more of a fan of what Heath Ledger's Joker did, because he was a full-on villain. There was no redeemable qualities. And I like, y'all know what's crazy? There are times where I side with the villain. Like, I want to be able to feel like I can side with the villain. Not all the time, but I want to be able to side with the villain because I feel like the person he's going up against, either to me is somebody who's proven himself not to be a hero, or somebody who's extremely flawed, and I would say he is not someone you should elevate as a hero. Like with Tony Stark, there will never be a situation where I would see Tony Stark's character going against a villain and I want him to lose, because Tony Stark is a guy, his personality and the way he did with that character, he makes it to where you want to see him succeed over whoever he's going against. Even if times you think the guy is an asshole, What's good, Jessica? You didn't go see it, Jessica? But yeah, there are times where, yes, I will root for the villain if I'm not really too sold on the hero. I feel like I'm like, why is he a hero? I'm riding with the villain on this one. I don't know what it was like. Because if you like the villain, you like him personally. You know what I'm saying? Now I will say this though, you do like to see Tony Stark get his ass whooped every now and then, but there are times when he steps up and he's believable as a hero because he is an underdog because he doesn't have superpowers. He's wearing those suits, and without those suits, you can tell how vulnerable he is. Oh, okay, Joseph. Yeah, that's what I noticed. The rapper, it showed the guys in the Joker mask. They reminded me a lot of Antifa, and I think they were there to symbolize Antifa. Guys running around doing crazy things, wearing masks. That was Antifa. That was another way, because they said the movie was a bit left leaning, but it just showed you the madness that is on the left. There's a lot of madness on the left. Now, this Joker film was in its own universe. It wasn't part of any DCEU. So, I mean, we can judge it on other Jokers, but we can't, because this Joker, for the most part, didn't go up against any heroes. He wasn't going up against Batman or, any other DC heroes. He was just a guy who was raging against the world around him. That's a lot. The rapper Captain Marvel, from my understanding, because I haven't seen it, but a lot of people didn't like it. And I can understand why, man. They set female-led movies back years. I grew up watching female-led TV shows and movies. I don't understand this push to throw female characters in people's faces. Like growing up in the 90s, there were a lot of female-led TV shows and even movies. But I think because people have revisionist history and they talking about the now and they want to push an agenda, they want to say that women's characters have been held back, which is a total fucking lie, you know, which is not true. Who you talking about? Joaquin Phoenix, Jessica? Yeah, they did put a lot of black people in this film, man. Two of the characters were in the TV show Atlanta. The guy who worked at Arkham and the female quote unquote love interest. Yeah, Xena was good. I grew up watching Xena in the 90s. I grew up watching Xena in the 90s. I agree, Torian. I think Black Widow is more relatable. But they're gonna feminist the fuck out that film, from what I understand. Like, they have a feminist writer. They're gonna make it about girl power, even though they're talking about bringing back Tony Stark for this film, which would actually be a mistake. Focus on more cinema universe and take a bit. Yeah, because DC understands that fans like good villains. You know, fans like good villains. Marvel is all about milking the characters they already have and not really caring about the villains because they're Disney. You know, they're all about the kids. You know? Talking about Joaquin Phoenix, Jessica. Yeah, man, all the female-led TV shows that we all grew up on, I know I did in the 90s. If you want to talk about equality, go look at the movies and TV shows from the 90s. Like, seriously. What's good, Josh? I see you. Yeah, man. Yeah, Joaquin does have a brother, River Phoenix. He was a rising actor, but in the early 90s, man, a lot of those guys got hooked on drugs, man. Like, staying with Kurt Cobain, I think he passed away around the same time, or he took his own life around the same time, Yeah, I like a movie with a good villain, man. You can't sell me on a movie that has a weak villain, Yeah, I saw the Harley Quinn trailer. I don't even know what to say. Why are you doing a Harley Quinn movie? That's the first thing that came to mind. Why are you doing a Harley? At least do one more Suicide Squad before you give her own film. That's an agenda being pushed that no one's going to care about. No one's going to care about that film in 5 years. Unless the film does $1 billion. If the film does $1 billion, maybe. The villains are always women. That's symbolic, Jessica. That's very symbolic. Yeah, I remember seeing a behind the scenes video of that years ago, Miranda. They used to do like the behind the scenes shows. And I saw that, man. That was crazy. They would talk about these guys and yeah, but he was a rising actor, man. Rising actor. Yeah, Will Smith, he's not going to be in the new Suicide Squad, but they're leaving the door open for him. That's why they're not going to recast the character. They're going to add new characters, I believe. They're not going to recast his character. They're going to leave the door open for him. All the hoes were dressed up as Harley Quinn last Halloween. Oh, man. All the hoes, they're going to be dressed up like Harley Quinn this year. Yeah, listen. The hoes gonna be dressed up like Harley Quinn this year. They're gonna be dressed up like Harley Quinn this year. Trust and believe. Yeah, but I think Joaquin's still the only one out of them that's still acting. I believe. Shout out to Shy, Black Panther 2, Namor, the Submariner. I've heard rumors of that. I don't know if that's true. He's gonna be in that one, but that'll be an interesting way to introduce him. You know, that would have been more interesting than the Harley Quinn film or whatever they're trying to do, or the rapper. You know, put them together. Put them together. But I think because they were doing this Joker film, they didn't want it to be overshadowed. But I think this movie is overshadowing anything that they're doing right now at DC. You just are playing Deadshot. Is that confirmed? War of the First Horseman. Is that confirmed? Because from my understanding, they weren't gonna recast his role, and Idris wasn't gonna play Deadshot. On the faculty, and I've seen that movie. I don't know how many times. I don't know if I've seen her in it. I don't remember it. Yeah, he did. Autumn, he did. Young at the time, man. Yeah, he did. They used to have a young Hollywood scene, man. A lot of those young Hollywood actors, they would hang out with each other, man. But this media like hate for this film made people go even more, you know? But it doesn't make any sense. The media loves Marvel so much that they will try to denigrate any film that has any buzz outside of Disney. They defend anything Disney, and they will tear down anybody who infringes on their comic book movie market. Okay, Miranda. And that's the problem with the media, man. They're so goddamn biased, man. They're so up Disney's, backside. I gotta keep it politically correct. They're so pro Disney, it's sick. They change, and Rotten Tomatoes is changing, their meter system because people hated Captain Marvel. If any other DC property is disliked, they're gonna probably make more changes. It's crazy. Shout out to Cornelius Bellamy. Keep up the good work, Jay. Appreciate that, man. Oh, shout out to him. Yeah, man. It's a lot of weird and crazy things that have happened, man, with a lot of these young actors. Um, Especially if they didn't have any parenting around them. What's the guy name? Like Elijah Wood. Like Elijah Wood from the Lord of the Rings films, right? He talked about the weird stuff that would go on, especially with young kids. He said that because his parents were around and they guided and protected him, he didn't get into any of those situations. And Elijah Wood has been making movies since he was like a kid. And he talked about the fact that if it wasn't for his parents being there, he would have been in certain situations. So panning Disney and media trying to cater to Chinese market. They are, because the Chinese are buying. They're buying companies in Hollywood, and the Chinese do have a large market, and they want that money. They want that Chinese, money. So they are catering to that audience more and more and more. It's crazy, but that they care about making money more than they do about making quality films. I think Disney, he still look like a kid. Yeah, Miranda, I've seen that film. It's a lot of those films I've seen in the 90s. That's why I say I've seen a lot of these actors grow up. I've seen them when they were child actors to now when they're adults. Just like when you got female-led movies and films that the media completely overlooks and talk about how they've never gotten any opportunity. This is bullshit. Yeah, because those kids, they are in an environment where they're making money. They have an agent. The family has less and less control, or they don't really care, and they want their kids to be in these films so badly that they're willing to allow their kids around the most unsavory of people. I know I spoke about, and I'm still gonna do a video on the girl who was an IG model at 15, but it was found out that she's actually 13, and she's posting these provocative pictures on social media. Her father is trying to get her out of that environment, but her mother won't allow it. And she's on there posing. She's dating 17-year-olds, probably older guys than that. You can't look at that girl and tell me that she is not sleeping with older men. Can't tell me that. Just off of body language alone, she doesn't have a kid's body language. She has an adult woman's body language. And that's because I believe this young girl is being exposed to older men. She's making a lot of money. Yeah, Danielle Cohn. Yeah, she's making $2 million, I believe, a year. But he has 3 million followers. You mean to tell me they're not grown men who have been around this girl, who are in this girl's DMs? Yeah, I believe that was fake, Jessica. But yeah, man, you can look at her body language. You can tell that is not the body language of a preteen. That's the body language of a girl who's around older people, not just her mother. Okay? And she is in LA. She's in Hollywood, okay? Where the weirdness happens. Where the weirdness happens. Shout out to AN. Parents pimping their kids in the industry is nothing new. No, it's not nothing new. But you would think that in 2019, people will be more aware of it. People weren't really aware of it back then, 20, 30 years ago. People weren't really aware of it. My daughter had to unfollow her on TikTok. Hell no. She unfollowed on TikTok. Yeah, the mother's living vicariously through the daughter. She probably trying to get her a man vicariously through promoting her daughter and making money off her daughter. Elijah Wood is 38? I knew he was in his 30s. I didn't know he was that old, but yeah. He looked the same way he did in Lord of the Rings. Like Bow Wow. Bow Wow don't look his age. Bow Wow's in his early 30s. Yeah, LA is just all messed up. The Bay Area, what's going on with the homelessness, what's going on with the trash, and just certain parts of the city needing to be quarantined. I don't know how you, as one of these rich liberals, can live in that city and not do nothing for the people there, but you want to do something for other countries. That just shows y'all that those people don't care about you. They don't. They just care about going viral for doing something for other countries. They don't do nothing for the people in their communities. And they're the ones getting upset talking about how other people don't do this and that. Their charity work is BS. Yeah, man. These parents care so much more about making money. I ain't gonna say the parent. I'm gonna say the mother, because the young girl Danielle, her mother is the one who is allowing her to do what she's doing, and it's because they care more about making money. They care more about living a lifestyle, and they will use their kids to do it. Yeah, a lot of that was going on, Miranda. And I believe that was still, I think some of that to this day is still going on. Not as prevalent, but I think some of that's still going on. There's no reason why a 13-year-old should be on social media posing the way that she's posing. And you as a woman is allowing her to do that. But that doesn't surprise me, because you have a lot of these women who use their daughters to advance themselves. They will use their daughters to get attention from guys. Taking pictures with them, posting them. You know, they looking bad built, out of shape, ain't look good in 30 years. But they're going to use their daughter's looks in order to get attention. This is what goes on, man. This stuff goes on. It's nothing new, like y'all said. It's nothing new. This stuff been going on. Yeah, man. You know, I'm from the Southeast. You know, I've been around different places, different neighborhoods, been in the country. The stuff that I have seen in some of these cities with homelessness, and you got all this trash, just the place all messed up. It lets you it makes you appreciate living in smaller cities. You know, it makes you appreciate living in smaller cities, because for so long I've wanted that. When growing up, I could say I've wanted to go and live in bigger cities, but as I've gotten older, I said, you know what, I appreciate living in a smaller city that is not so ran into the ground. They're actually upgrading the city. They're keeping these streets clean. For the most part, they are redoing roads. I appreciate that, to the point to where I could never see myself living in a Los Angeles. Visit, yeah, but living, that'll be no. Okay? That goes for, and listen, I'm not disrespecting nobody's city, but you have these big cities, like your Chicago's, like your Atlanta's, you know, New York. I just could not see myself living in those cities because they're congested. The traffic is awful. Listen, where I live, the traffic is bad. Okay? Especially when it's around 4 or 5 o'clock. From about 4 to about 6, the traffic is crazy. Even where I live. And it's not a huge population of people. But I'm like, damn. So I can only imagine living in a city that has a ton of traffic on a day-to-day basis, where you got to literally sit in traffic for hours. I can't do that. I couldn't do that. I can't do that. I appreciate living in a small city now than I ever have before. Okay? That's why you see so many people from different states moving to my state, moving to a Florida or a North Carolina or a Virginia, because you have a lot of small towns that are growing and developing. Okay, random woman. Appreciate it. That's why you got so many people from New York and New Jersey moving down here. I went to high school with a ton of people from New Jersey. It's either the weather or, it just is jobs. And these cities have gotten so congested. That's why I said I couldn't stay in those cities. And they actually, I believe, have an article that says that millennials are leaving big cities. They're leaving the Los Angeles and some of these other big cities, and they're moving to more conservative cities and states. This is where the problem lies in, because I'm in a state that's conservative. The mayor of my city, he's like I think he's like a centrist Democrat, but he's a young guy who has done a lot to help the city. But the city's still super conservative. But imagine having all these liberal millennials move into your state that you don't have congestion, you don't have an issue with homelessness, all move into your city. That is what's starting to happen. And that is why I appreciate where I stay more than going to live in a big city. Because when I look at things the way that I do, I could not imagine living in one of these big old congested, traffic heavy cities, a bunch of homeless people, trash everywhere. I don't think I could do it. Yeah, like the mayor of my city, he's like a libertarian, but I've seen growth in my city, and I also have seen people trickle down here, and it's due to those things, those Democrat-led cities that are forcing people to leave. That's what it seemed, Robert. That's what it seemed like. Oh yeah, okay, Nicole. I can see that. Yeah, because I don't know if I could live there. Working there. I know you got certain places where you work and you sort of leave and you stay on the outskirts, or you live in a different town. New York is Gotham, Massachusetts metropolis. Oh, you mean metropolis? Massachusetts metropolis? Yeah, and a lot of people are moving southward from California, some of the West Coast states, or they moving to Nevada. I know a lot of people from California moved to Oregon, they moved to Nevada, they moved to Texas, Florida. Yeah, Captain Cisco, I'm still here. Still in South Cat. Fact. Since they're not taking they took people they want to leave them behind. Yeah, I haven't seen anything in the media about immigration in a minute. People in Vegas called them communifornicans. Yeah, man, you see them California tags, you like, ah, shit. Yeah, Greenville is nice. I will say, the upper west side of the state is really nice. I like trees. I like scenery. I don't like too many people connect. Like I'm saying, like I really like to live if I could live like I won't say the country, but live where there's like trees, maybe a lake. You know what I'm saying? kind of secluded, out there with nature. I don't want to live house to house next to other people. I don't want to live where there's no, you can't, when you leave out the house, you want to smell nature instead of smelling, car oil and, trash and, like just everything just congested. You know what I'm saying? Well, yeah, Captain Sizzle, that's your hometown? Okay, that's what's up. Yeah, DC's another city I couldn't see myself staying in. Like, I used to go to DC for summers. I used to go to Fort Washington, actually. We used to pass through DC and go to Fort Washington, which was like a suburb on the outside of the city. Yeah, but even in the late 90s, I'm like, man, I don't know if I don't think I could stay here. And that was in like the late 90s. But yeah, I like greenery. I like scenery with green. Trees. Whether it be grass. Like whatever. I like green. I want to see green when I step outside my house. Clean, clean energy that you're inhaling. Okay? You know where Fort Washington is? Okay, Nicole? Girl? First, I want a real yard. Right. A real yard. Like real grass yard. Spacious. Yeah, the Joker's probably gonna make close to 100 million this weekend, Miranda. It's gonna do big numbers for DC. And I'm happy for DC because DC, the media they hate DC's films, man. And they hate this one more than all the others. But I'm glad that it's prospering. I hope that it continues to prosper. And the media and their biases get exposed because these type of situations are going to expose them. And the birds chirping. Right. And the birds chirping. Nothing but quietness, That's what I like about the country, man. That's why I like the country, Being in the country, like that's the one things I like about it is that, you got all this openness and you see nothing but, trees and land and, especially when the weather's good. It's a good, 70 degrees outside. The wind is blowing. Just feels good, Yeah, there's nothing but greenery. Or the Garden State. Yes, New Jersey is the Garden State. They're everywhere in the rural suburb areas. They run out of places to go. Yeah, I'm starting to see that in my city. They're cutting down a lot of trees and they're making way for developments. But they don't. But they take their time. They don't knock down too many. Like they keep it in the city. You know what I'm saying? They don't go out to the outskirts into the boonies and tearing down trees for no reason. But still, it shows that these areas are becoming way too metropolitan. I think there needs to be areas where you're not going to build anything on it. You just allow it to stay because it helps the whole the whole ecosystem needs that. You don't need houses on every corner. Like you're not going to be able to fill them, especially like if it costs too much. Media has been hated because people who say negative things didn't live a hard life and identify with the rich who portrayed as villains. I would say so because a lot of liberals, a lot of them come from not bad, but they come from very privileged backgrounds. and they don't want to feel like, people, look at them as privileged. They want to believe that they're not going to be in that discussion of privilege, Oh, you have deer where you live, Miranda? Okay. So is any hunting going on? I know it's getting close to hunting season. Like, especially when they get close to wintertime. People hunting deer. Yeah, man. They've been situations where people be driving down the highway, and you have deer hop into the road, causing accidents. But yeah, make sure y'all go and check out the Joker film. Okay. Shout out to Naima. It's good, Naima. Enjoy your Sunday, Jay. At my daughter's B-Day. Talk to you later. Okay, happy birthday to your daughters, man. Tell them I say happy birthday. And hopefully you're having a good Sunday and enjoying your Sunday. Hopefully y'all do the same. No, I'm not from Newberry. I'm from Horry County. I'm in Central South Carolina. But I don't know. Maybe we are cousins. I got a lot of cousins around here, man. Got plethora of cousins. I had a plethora of cousins, man. But yeah, make sure y'all go and check out that Joker film, man. It was a good film, man. I really liked it. Fuck what the media says. The media don't. They're completely out of touch. The media is completely out of touch with reality, and it shows with their biases. Okay. But I'll see y'all in the next one. Y'all have a good rest of the afternoon, all right? To the next show.